Good evening. Welcome to the meetings of the Skokie Village Board for Monday, April the 19th, 2021. For those who are tuning in and are wondering what is happening, there will be two meetings of the Skokie Village Board this evening. The first meeting will be of the current board, and we'll be making some presentations and tributes to 4 members of the current board which are stepping off. Also, the manager has a report to the board where he would like action on a couple matters. The second meeting will be the installation of the new village board. Those swearings-ins will be conducted by 4 judges of the circuit court. We wish to welcome everybody this evening. I've not seen the screen this filled as yet, first time in over a year, so welcome to everybody. This is an evening of celebration and thanks. So first, as a preface, until further notice, meetings of the Skokie Village Board will be held electronically, with a majority of village officials participating via remote access in order to comply with the State of Illinois gubernatorial disaster proclamation. Members of the public who wish to comment as to an item on the published agenda or to comment during public comments must submit their statement or question in writing to the village manager's office, and all properly submitted statements or questions will be presented and read during the relevant portion of the board meeting. Written comments may be submitted by email to publiccomments@skokie.org before or during the meetings, by mail to Village of Skokie, Village Manager's Office, 5127 Oakton, Skokie 60077, or via the village's drop box located by the public entry to Village Hall. And now we will be led in the Pledge of Allegiance by Village Clerk Pramod Shah.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
The meeting will come to order, and the clerk will please call the roll.
Trustee Roberts.
Here.
Trustee Sutker.
Here.
Trustee Ulrich.
Here.
Trustee Brownberg.
Here.
Trustee Klein.
Here.
Trustee Gray-Keeler.
Here.
Mayor Van Dusen.
Aye, the motion passes. A motion to approve the consent agenda for this evening's meeting. Trustee Ulrich, seconded by Trustee Brownberg. Is there anything on the consent agenda anybody wishes to have removed? If not, call the roll, please.
Trustee Roberts.
Aye.
Trustee Sutker.
Aye.
Trustee Ulrich.
Aye.
Trustee Brownberg.
Aye.
Trustee Klein.
Aye.
Trustee Gray-Keeler.
Aye.
Mayor Van Dusen.
Aye, the motion passes. This evening, as I mentioned just a minute ago, we have 4 members of the board who are departing. They are a stellar group of public servants in every best sense of the phrase. And we want to pay tribute to each one of the members of the board. And so what I would like to do is read a proclamation honoring each one of the members. After I have read a member's proclamation, I would like to call on that trustee if she or he has any comments that they would like to make. The first is in honor of Trustee Michelle Brownberg. Whereas Trustee Michelle Brownberg has lived in Skokie since 1993 and was elected to the village board in 2001. And whereas trustee Brownberg has served as the trustee liaison to the Board of Health and the Consumer Affairs Commission, both of these commissions having benefited greatly from her personal and academic experience. And whereas trustee Brownberg received a Bachelor of Science in Nursing degree from Loyola University Marcella Nyhoff School of Nursing in Chicago, and holds a Master of Science in Nursing from Rush University. Trustee Brownberg is the nursing coordinator for the Illinois Department of Financial and Professional Regulation. She is responsible for the planning and implementing of statewide policy for the uniform administration of the Illinois Nurse Practice Act and rules. Whereas trustee Brownberg works with the manager of the supervisor of the Illinois Nursing Workforce Center that was created to analyze the nursing workforce in the state of Illinois. She has served on various task force groups that address healthcare issues faced by the residents throughout the state of Illinois. She is a member of Oratora congregation. Whereas trustee Michelle Brownberg and her husband Leo are the proud parents of 5 adult children and have 7 grandchildren. Now therefore I, George Van Duzen, Mayor of the Village of Skokie, do hereby commemorate and congratulate trustee Brownberg on her dedicated service to this great village. On behalf of the Village of Skokie and all of our residents, we wish you, Michelle, much continued success and happiness.
Thank you, George.
Michelle, the floor is all yours.
Well, first I'd like to thank the Skokie residents, my colleagues, Skokie Village staff, and my family for their numerous amount of support and encouragement over the years. It was a wonderful experience to serve the residents of the Village of Skokie as a trustee. I wish much success to the incoming village board, and I also look forward to attending many village events and being a resource for you. Thank you again for everything.
And I might point out that trustee Brownberg has been an enormous help to the Board of Health and the Consumer Affairs Commission in particular, but also she's been a great advisor to us as we've proceeded with our COVID vaccination program. And so thank you very much, Michelle.
Thank you. Thank all of you.
And now Karen Gray-Keeler. Whereas trustee Karen Gray-Keeler has lived in Skokie for over 25 years and was appointed to the village board on December 3rd, 2012. And whereas trustee Gray-Keeler was a member of the Complete Streets Steering Committee and has served as a neighborhood watch block captain. And whereas trustee Gray-Keeler has served most recently as the trustee liaison to the Economic Development Commission and the Plan Commission, and previously was a member of the Fine Arts Commission. And whereas trustee Gray-Keeler has assumed leadership roles as a volunteer in many community organizations, including serving as vice president of Temple Beth Israel, vice chair of the Skokie Caucus Party. Additionally, she served as a PTA officer, president of the Evanston In-School Music Association, and was involved in several other community initiatives, including coordinating Park District trips for senior citizens and helping children and adults learn English as a second language. Whereas trustee Gray-Keeler earned a Bachelor of Arts degree from Washington University and a Juris Doctorate from Indiana University School of Law, Indianapolis. She is a small business owner and a member of the Skokie Chamber of Commerce, the Chicago Bar Association, and the League of Women Voters. Her volunteer pursuits also include serving as a Cook County arbitrator and a legal aid attorney. Whereas trustee Karen Gray-Keeler and her husband, Dr. Thomas Keeler, are the proud parents of 3 adult sons. Now therefore I, George Van Dusen, Mayor of the Village of Skokie, do hereby commemorate and congratulate trustee Karen Gray-Keeler on her dedicated service to this great village. On behalf of the Village of Skokie and all of our residents, we wish you, Karen, much continued success and happiness.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Karen?
Great. Thank you very much, Mayor. I came because I wanted to see you swear in public. My friend said when I was sworn in as a new trustee, in front of a packed audience at a village board meeting. That evening was quite a contrast to tonight's meeting, as most of us sit at home alone in front of our computers. I wasn't sure what I was getting myself into when I became a trustee, even though I had served on commissions for many years. I knew that Skokie had a reputation for honesty, integrity, and open government. My predecessors had left big shoes to fill. So what did I get myself into? On paper, 2 board meetings a month. In reality, most of my time as a trustee was spent outside of the board meetings. I read numerous reports and articles, participated in commission meetings, committee meetings, legislative meetings, town hall meetings, task forces, award appreciation memorial and religious ceremonies, festivals, fundraisers, funerals, vigils, visual and performing arts events, groundbreakings and ribbon cuttings, site visits, meetings with staff, meetings with businesses, meetings with residents. Along the way, I learned that although most people are only aware if their garbage is picked up and their streets are plowed, running a village is a vast undertaking with a myriad of obligations, commitments, demands, and desires that need to be balanced against limited resources. I am so impressed with the professionalism and dedication of our village staff. A couple of conversations this week epitomized Skokie to me. A neighbor told me how much he loves living in Skokie. He emphasized that not only is it a great place to live, but he also appreciates how wonderful Skokie is to work with when he has clients doing projects here. He acknowledged how above board Skokie is. There is no hidden agenda. A friend shared with me his frustration in the uphill battle he is fighting to get the village he lives in interested in sustainability. He knows Skokie is a leader in this area and told me that he presented our sustainability plan to his mayor. Skokie's reputation as being proactive in many fields reaches beyond our borders. The intergovernmental agreements on tonight's agenda remind me of how Skokie collaborates with many other entities, including our park district, library, school districts, and neighboring communities for the good of the entire village. It's been a pleasure and honor to have served with competent, caring, dedicated people on the village board. Thank you to my husband, Tom, and the rest of my family and friends who have listened to me talk, sometimes ad nauseum, about what a wonderful community Skokie is. Thank you to the Skokie Caucus Party for slating me and Skokie residents for electing me as a trustee. I'm honored to have had the opportunity to serve our wonderful community. I wish all the best to the new board.
I hope that recitation of all the work hasn't scared any of our new trustees off.
It's too late.
It's too late. Almost. We're going to get to them very soon. And next, Randy Roberts. Whereas trustee Randall Roberts was elected village trustee in April 2001, He represents Skokie on the Board of Directors of the Northwest Municipal Conference, a council of governments representing over 40 municipalities in the North and Northwest Chicago metropolitan area. And whereas Trustee Roberts has served as the trustee liaison to the Human Relations Commission and to the Sustainable Environmental Advisory Commission. And whereas Trustee Roberts has been a practicing attorney for 40 years, earning undergraduate and law degrees from Loyola University, Chicago. He worked as the compliance officer for Maryville Academy, a nonprofit child care organization in Des Plaines, Illinois, and formerly served as assistant state's attorney in the Cook County State's Attorney's Office for 30 years, most recently as a member of the executive staff, acting as the director of continuing legal education and technology project coordinator. During his tenure in the state's attorney's office, Roberts also held other supervisory positions and prosecuted hundreds of adult criminal cases in courtrooms throughout Cook County. And whereas previously Trustee Roberts supervised the prosecution of juvenile delinquency cases, including cases involving Skokie youth. Roberts is a former member of Skokie's Youth at Risk Task Force, a past chairperson of the Chicago Bar Association's Juvenile Law Committee, and enjoys speaking at public forums about criminal and juvenile justice. And whereas Trustee Roberts is a member of St. Nicholas Catholic Church, a member of the Skokie Lions Club, and a supporter and volunteer for District 219 and District 73 and a half schools, Maryville Academy, and Misericordia Home. Whereas Trustee Randa Roberts and his wife Margie have lived in Skokie for 34 years, are the parents of 3 adult children, Elizabeth, Kevin, and Sarah, and the proud grandparents of Alice. Now, therefore, I, George Van Dusen, Mayor of the Village of Skokie, do hereby commemorate and congratulate Randy Roberts for his dedicated service to this great village. On behalf of the village and all of our residents, we wish you, Randy, much continued success and happiness. Randy, all yours.
Thank you, Mayor. Boy, Michelle, where has the time gone? After 20 years and about 480 village board meetings, I have countless people to thank, too numerous to mention, but all by name, but I would like to publicly mention some of them. First, I would like to thank my wife, Margie, and my children for their love and support over these many years. I could not have pursued this wonderful public service as a trustee without them. I would like to thank my many friends and neighbors. You know who you are out there. I hope some of you are watching tonight. You always gave me the best advice and kept me grounded and humble. I want to thank my mentors, all also too numerous to name. We like to say in Skokie welcomes everyone. Well, over these many years, here are some of the people who welcomed me. I would have never become a trustee without the help of Calvin Sutker, who introduced me to the Skokie Caucus Party. As a candidate and trustee, I was advised and guided by some of the finest individuals in our community, people like Sue and Harvey Swartz, Frank McCabe, Don Perrill, Michael Gelder, Pat Hanley, Rabbi Neil Brief, George Mitchell, Al Nathan, Mort Paradise, Barbara Meyer, Usha and Om Kamaria, Habib Quadri, Rich Ivanitz, and Bob Quain. Some of these individuals are no longer with us, but all have a special place in my heart. These mentors have made me a better person and a better trustee. I want to thank the hundreds of employees with the Village of Skokie that I have worked with over these many years. I deeply appreciate your dedication and commitment to serving our residents. Of course, it starts right at the top with our village manager. I have been blessed with working with two of the best village managers in the state of Illinois during my career. First, Al Rigoni, who was our village manager from 2001 to 2013, and then John Lockerbie from 2013 until the present time. The fact that there have only been two managers during the time indicates the stability of our village government and the quality of the individuals who act as our managers. A similar high quality and professionalism has always been evident in the rest of our staff. People like our outstanding police chiefs, fire chiefs, our directors in public works, health, human services, and community development. In fact, all of our employees. People like Max Slankard, Tony Scarpelli, Brian Baker, Beth Lindley, Jeff Hoflick, Jim Walters, Ann Tennis, Dr. Catherine Kennard, Susan Reesberg, Claudia Braden, Peter Pyre, and the late Tom Thompson, and many, many others. We as trustees often take credit for Skokie's achievements, but our employees are the ones that rightly should deserve the credit. To my current board member colleagues, Edie, Alanka, Michelle, Ralph, and Karen, and our clerk, Pramod Shaw, thank you for your patience with me, your kindness, and your support. We began as colleagues, but we end as good and trusted friends, a great gift in itself. Thank you to our esteemed Mayor, George Van Duzen. You have been my great mentor and friend for 2 decades. You love Skokie, government, and history, and that made us kindred spirits and made for many great conversations every time we met. Thank you for listening to me, George, and incorporating some of my ideas into yours. I would like to thank Michael Lorge, our Corporation Counsel. In addition to providing excellent legal advice, you have helped me in many ways and introduced me to some of the most wonderful people in Skokie, especially Rabbi Michael Weinberg, Rabbi Ari Hart. God bless them and all the members of the Niles Township Clergy Forum. I am so proud of what this village board has done during the past 20 years. When Michelle Brownberg and I began as trustees in 2001, a few months before 9/11, there was no Illinois Science and Technology Park, nor was there any network of bike trails or an Oakton CTA train station. When we started in 2001, the Holocaust Museum was a tiny storefront on Main Street. We had a drafty, antiquated police station, and the old station, fire station number 17, was in a small, inadequate building where the sleeping quarters on the second floor was filled with exhaust every time a fire truck left the building. Today we have a downtown being revitalized, a beautiful museum, and modern village buildings that will meet our needs for many years to come. I am proud that we were one of the first municipalities in Illinois to ban indoor smoking in our bars and restaurants, that we passed an assault weapons ban. We enacted a welcoming village ordinance that protected our residents, that we supported the highest possible minimum wage for our residents. Those were the nights when I went home and I was thankful I had an opportunity to serve as a village trustee. To our new board members, Allison, Kim, James, and Keith, I offer my congratulations and I wish you much success. As I look back tonight, I think I've always tried to vote my conscience, and I think you can't go wrong if you do the same. I'm very proud that you were elected to represent me and our community. You are individuals of great integrity, compassion for others, and good character. You offer us both the symbol and substance of what we aspire to as a village. You will do great things for our community, and I will do what I can to help you, and I will be there to cheer you on. God bless you all.
Thank you. I'm almost out of breath after that recitation of the last 20 years of Skokie history. Randy, thank you. I've always valued our friendship and those conversations, and I look forward to continuing with many more in the future. Thank you very much. And now, Alanka Ulrich. Whereas Alanka Ulrich has lived in Skokie since 2001 and was elected to the village board in 2013. And whereas trustee Ulrich has served as the trustee liaison to the Beautification and Improvement Commission and to the Public Safety Commission. And whereas, before being elected, trustee Ulrich served as a member of the Skokie Zoning Board of Appeals, where she worked with fellow commissioners to fairly maintain Skokie's building code and regulations for village residents. And whereas trustee Ulrich is an attorney, having earned a Juris Doctor degree from St. John's University School of Law, New York. She practices law at a suburban Chicago firm, representing clients who have suffered injury. She also has worked in the public sector as a workers' compensation commissioner for the state of Illinois and has volunteered to represent battered women in legal proceedings. And whereas trustee Alanka Ulrich has one son, and with her Latin American and Eastern European heritage, she appreciates and values Skokie's diverse and inclusive community. Therefore, I, George Van Dusen, Mayor of the Village of Skokie, do hereby commemorate and congratulate trustee Alanka Ulrich on her dedicated service to our great village. On behalf of the Village of Skokie and all of our residents, we wish you, Alanka, much continued success and happiness. Thank you.
Can you hear me? Because my computer just happened to freeze.
You're on.
Yes?
Yes.
Okay, good. So Randy's a hard act to follow, and I'm surprised he held it together. I hope I held it together as well as he did. We both have a little bit of a history of becoming emotional. Okay, so good evening. I am grateful to be given this opportunity to show my appreciation, express my thanks, and say my goodbyes. Before I do that, I feel a heavy burden upon myself to address the issue of diversity amongst our leadership. There's been a lot of talk about a diverse slate. Diversity is important if those representing you are seen and heard. You will hear a lot about it first tonight with a sense of pride. At this proverbial 11th hour, I would like to recognize a very qualified leader, one who I believe to be the very first person of color, and probably our first immigrant as well, ever to serve on this board from the very inception of our village government. Pramod Shah, our village clerk. Clerk Shaw started on this board as trustee 12 years ago. I applaud you for the good work you have done. I sat on this board for 8 years myself, and today I will recognize myself as the first woman of color, as a Latina, as a Caribbean American. But none of that matters if we're not even seen. Today, 2 more minorities will be sworn in to sit on the Skokies as Skokie's leaders. In an age of identity politics, I'm sure everyone knows about these new members of the panel, and my intent is not to minimize them at all. On the contrary, I invite you to go to rutgers.edu/history women of color, and you will see how visible our nation has been in finding the importance of electing people who reflect our population more appropriately. And I'm overjoyed about further diversifying our slate, and that those on the panel who are those who are on a panel who are champions of civil rights. But it's not about the numbers that matter so much. It's about having a voice. It's not enough if, in fact, we are seen. My vision for this new panel is that they are able to effectuate change. That they have substantial representation for a very large, special immigrant and diverse community, and promote safety and equality, equal opportunity for them in employment, services, and in our boards and commissions. Skokie needs more than symbolic change and more than performative justice. the contextual change in our policies and decision-making, and to break the pattern of privilege and control. We have seen some ugliness in our nation the past 8 years that I've been in office. Comparatively, I've seen very little evidence of that in Skokie, where we live harmoniously side by side and embrace our differences. As we see on many signs around the village, hate has no home here. Yet, Skokie welcomes everybody, but we don't welcome bigotry and we don't welcome those who divide us. Unity starts here in your homes where you live. Moving on to my thank yous, I would like to thank my son Julian for making me a better human. Julian is an example of why voting is important. Julian has spent his entire life living here. He works here in a part-time job while he furthers his education. I remember as a single mom, I get this more so because I'd be rushing home and he'd be attending his daycare here, his elementary school, high school, park districts, the library, and all those people helped. For those of you who might remember, Julian was also a part of our election 8 years ago. He helped a lot, and he was engaged in making phone calls and walking, and those little voice people would say, "Is this a kid?" Anyway, he would surprise a lot of the citizens, and his comments were replete with facts that most adults don't even know. Biased as it may be, he is an example of literally how it takes a village to raise a child. I especially recognize this as a single mom when I entrusted him to different entities in Skokie to care for my child. These people in Skokie, these entities, helped raise him. Skokie taught him, so he taught him, and they embraced him. They contributed to the good-hearted man that he has become. This collaborative effort is demonstrated in him being a productive member of our society, equipped with the self-confidence and the morals we all want our children to have. These entities are there because an elected body put them there. This is why voting locally is so important. It is so important that when you vote locally, that you vote for those who comport with your morals, for those you would like to have living next to you as neighbors, for those of you who would want them to help raise your child. I would like to thank the voters selecting me to office for 2 terms. It's hard to express in words what an honor it has been, coupled with the contentious responsibility I felt as a trustee, knowing the decisions of this board affect each citizen's life in Skokie. I have made each vote with thought and integrity. Meeting so many of you and participating in so many community activities has truly been inspirational and has brought me much joy. It has been with heavy heart that I will no longer be serving on the board. I intend on continuing to be visible, working towards a better Skokie. I thank the employees of the village of Skokie for their professionalism, from those who answer the phones, pave our streets, and guide us in times of troubles. I thank those men and women who put their lives in their hands to protect us, the Skokie Police Department, the Skokie Fire Department. Their professionalism will shine through. As a liaison to the Public Safety Commission, we encourage police and citizen interaction with programs like National Night Out, Many Cultures, One Community, Keeping Skokie Safe, one outcome including the cop mobile moving from area to area where the officers interacted with the citizens. And as of late, we've hosted many groups throughout the village and beyond, discussing the issues of how we can make our citizens feel safe in these difficult times, and to also while acknowledging the excellence in our police department. I need to mention throughout my watch the explosion of our block watch programs and our many block parties. Finally, my gratitude extends to the members of this board. Together, we worked hard these 8 years to better Skokie, a list of accomplishments which are too numerous to delineate here. To mention a few, with efficient and responsible budgeting, the mayor, the board, and the talented people of this village emerged from a serious recession, keeping our lives financially manageable for most of us. We further economic developments in blighted areas like West Dempster Street, enhancing our downtown areas, which include the new building on 8000 North, our urban housing on Floral Avenue, our science and tech park, our new police department. Throughout these years, our board also voted in ways that improve the lives of people through funding social services and assistance to those struggling economically, mentally, and/or physically. I'm proud of the COVID Clinic's excellence in service and our work towards making our environment more safe. And there is still so much more work to be done. With the aftermath of COVID, affordable housing must be addressed. Our response to this crisis goes beyond our vaccine clinic. We must address the financial difficulties of those in our community who have suffered the greatest hardship. We must capitalize on the opportunities to help our small businesses. There's no reason we can't do both. I wish the best of luck in the incoming board and these and other like endeavors. I welcome new experiences and opportunities as I move on to the third act in my life, and hopefully not my last. I really enjoyed serving the people of the state of Illinois, and more recently serving the citizens of Skokie. Thank you for the amazing run, and I look forward to a better future for all of us. I'm very excited about the new panel, and I avail myself to you whenever you need any kind of advice. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I would like to thank Lucy Rukovich of John's staff, who this evening stopped by each of the trustees' homes and dropped off with some parting gifts for the trustees. We commemorate all of the work that you have done for the village of Skokie, and I think everybody joins me in wishing you the very best, and thank you for everything that you've done to make this a really great village. And Alanka's holding up. Alanka, hold that up again. And we hope that each time you look at each of the two plaques, that you remember the village and your great service fondly. Thank you very much to each one of you. We're deeply appreciative. And in that vein, I would like to recognize our village manager and corporation counsel. We're having a joint report this evening, which will soon become, you will understand why we're doing it this way. John Lockerbie and Michael Lorch.
Thank you. Thank you, Mayor Van Duzen and village trustees. Good evening, everyone. Item A was approved as part of tonight's consent agenda. Items B and C are regarding the wholesale water contract with Evanston and use of the Skokie Fire Tower. We're pleased to report that the City of Evanston and Village of Skokie have reached an agreement with the assistance of a federal mediator for a resolution of our wholesale water dispute and litigation. In 1941, for various engineering and infrastructure reasons, the Skokie and Evanston created an interdependent and intertwined water system to benefit and support both municipalities. Since that time, Skokie has continuously purchased treated water from Evanston. Skokie was Evanston's first water customer and remains its longest water customer. The current third contract with Evanston and the most recent 20-year contract expired on February 28, 2017. After 4 years of episodic negotiations, including state litigation filed by Evanston and federal litigation filed by Skokie, an agreement to establish a new wholesale water contract has been achieved. The federal litigation filed by Skokie was also our path to bring the dispute to a mediation process. Skokie will pay $4,237,085.13 to Evanston for water and services provided by Evanston during the past 2 years, which Skokie has been escrowing in anticipation of an ultimate resolution. This amount is the difference between what Skokie paid during the litigation based on previous contracts and a rate that was reasonable for both parties. The interest was calculated by the return on the money Skokie received. I'll highlight a few of the noteworthy terms of the contract. Evanston will continue to supply water to Skokie in the same manner. This is by direct pressure from the Evanston water plant without intermediate pumping from reservoirs, and will adjust pressures according to water demands. Evanston will continue to monitor and assure the quality of the water delivered to Skokie through this integrated system. In the future, Skokie retains the right to revamp the water delivery method from the current integrated system to a dump and pump system if it becomes financially beneficial. The new wholesale water delivery contract is effective through December 31st, 2040, and may be extended for up to 2 additional terms of 10 years each. The water assets included in the rate formula are based on assets that serve Skokie and in general terms include transmission mains that are 24 inches or greater, as well as the 3 points of connection between the Evanston and Skokie systems. The wholesale water rate is calculated based on a formula applied to all of Evanston's wholesale water customers, including return on rate, depreciation, and quantity. The new mediated wholesale water rate for Skokie shall be $1.26 per 1,000 gallons for 2021, and increase in 2022 to $1.40 per 1,000 gallons, resulting from the construction of a significant capital project known as the Clear Well. This is a reservoir for water that is utilized to maintain water availability during unusual circumstances. And then the rate will not exceed $1.43 per 1,000 gallons in 2023. Thereafter, the annual rate will not exceed a 4% increase per year. Annually, a true-up will occur based on Evanston's actual operating costs for Skokie, and Skokie may audit and arbitrate these costs. If the Northwest Water Commission, a significant wholesale water customer of Evanston, stops purchasing water from Evanston between the years of 2034 and 2040, the change in total rate increase shall be recalculated, and Skokie shall be assessed not more than 50% of the rate increase incurred by that loss of a customer. Moving to the fire tower, Skokie has agreed to provide Evanston use of the Skokie's Fire Department Training Tower. In exchange for this, Evanston will continue to operate and control the village's water pumping stations and provide the village water pumping records. These are specific services related to us receiving water from Evanston. And these are services which both municipalities need and demonstrates our continuing mutual support. Evanston will participate in the cost of any training tower improvements or refurbishments in excess of $30,000 a year. In conclusion, and as a reminder, the wholesale portion of the rate is one component of our retail water rate charged to Skokie residents and businesses. Skokie's operating expenses and capital expenses are additional components of the retail rate. Skokie is the only wholesale water customer for which Evanston also controls the pressure of the system. Therefore, the rate calculations differ greatly from Evanston's other wholesale water customers. We are pleased that we are finishing the negotiations with a good relationship with Evanston and continuing our long-standing partnership. Michael Ulrich and Max Slenker were also part of the negotiating team, as well as Julian Prendy, and they joined me this evening to answer any questions there may be. This evening, there are two items for the board's consideration and approval. First is a resolution approving and authorizing an intergovernmental agreement with the City of Evanston pertaining to the purchase of water. And then second is a resolution authorizing an intergovernmental agreement with Evanston for the use of the Skokie Fire Department Training Tower.
A motion on the resolution approving and authorizing the intergovernmental agreement with Evanston pertaining to the purchase of water is in motion. Trustee Roberts, seconded by Trustee Brownberg. Are there any comments or questions? Trustee Klein.
Yes, thank you. Before I ask my question, I never thought we would get to this day. It's been a while. I just want to thank the legal department, John's department, Max Slankert, Public Works. I'm just very glad and appreciative of all the work that went into this and the length that it did. So I want to thank you all. The one question I have is about the current court cases that are associated with this agreement.
Thank you, trustee. There are, as I think everyone knows, two pending lawsuits. One was filed in 2017 by the City of Evanston against the village to put in place a rate that they had determined through their ordinance. That case is still pending. We were actually in court coincidentally on it today, and we've agreed to return on May 9th, at which time we will jointly dismiss that action, and Evanston will be taking the steps necessary in terms of their ordinance to make that possible. The other is the federal court lawsuit which the Village of Skokie filed against Evanston, and which actually was critical in part of this process because it led us to the federal court mediator, who was very helpful in building a conversation and a mediation in which both sides really were engaged in constructive work. And that case will also ultimately be dismissed, and in particular, releases will be issued there as to all of the defendants. So we expect that within the next 2 to 3 weeks, both cases will be dismissed and releases issued.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Trustee Gray-Keeler.
I want to echo the thank you to John and Michael and Max and Julian and your staffs for the incredible job over all these years you've done in making this agreement come into existence. And thank you so much for teaching us all about water distribution. All of us will be able to go out and share this information worldwide. Thank you.
Mayor, we would only add to that that the critical part really and truly is at the end of the road, we end up in good, strong partnership, John with his counterpart and myself with my counterpart, and that bodes well for both communities. We feel good about that.
Trustee Roberts.
I just wanted to, again, echo the thanks to the negotiating team, and while I can't shake your hand, at least I could see Max and Julian and John and Michael on the screen, so thank you very much. You know, as my final votes tonight as trustee, the two, as I said this at executive session, the last 4 years, the two questions people asked me almost every day was, when was 8,000 North going to be built? And when were we going to have a water contract? And it gives me great satisfaction tonight to know there's closure and both things are underway. And as we end this term of this board, those things are completed or almost completed in terms of the building. So thank you. And I think that my view is that this is a great contract for both Skokie and Evanston residents. I think it's fair, and it's going to give us 40 years of a good cooperative water, pure water supply. And as this board well knows, that oil or water's going to be more valuable than oil in the next 50 years. So it's such a precious commodity, and the fact that we ended this with goodwill towards the government of Evanston, I think that also bodes well for Skokie residents and Evanston residents. So thank you, and I appreciate all the hard work that went into this.
Trustee Ulrich.
So I want to thank everyone for this, and thank the board for bringing this to us tonight to have, so we can have closure on this and not passing it on to the next panel. I really appreciate that, and I appreciate all the hard work that went into this.
Thank you. Call the roll, please.
Trustee Roberts,
Aye.
Trustee Sutker,
Aye.
Trustee Ulrich,
Aye.
Trustee Brownberg,
Aye.
Trustee Klein,
Aye.
Trustee Gray-Keeler,
Aye.
Mayor Van Dusen.
Aye. The motion passes. A resolution authorizing an intergovernmental agreement with the City of Evanston for the use of the Skokie Fire Department Training Tower is in order. Trustee Gray-Keeler, seconded by Trustee Brownberg. Are there any comments or questions? If not, call the roll, please.
Trustee Roberts,
Aye.
Trustee Sutker,
Aye.
trustee Ulrich,
Aye.
trustee Brownberg,
Aye.
trustee Klein,
Aye.
trustee Gray-Keeler,
Aye.
Mayor Van Dusen.
Aye. The motion proudly passes. I thought it would be fitting, after taking up the water contract and the training tower, that we give trustee Klein and trustee Edie Sue Sutker a couple minutes to comment themselves this evening before we go to public comments, and then the second meeting, the installation. So, Ralph, do you have comments concluding the first meeting?
I always have comments, sir. At this point, I just want to say that one of the most overused words is honor, but it's truly been my honor to work with Edie, Alanka, Randy, Michelle, and Karen. They have brought so much to so many people, and I just marvel sometimes speaking to them and working with them of how much they have done, and they do it without any fanfare. All they do it is for the love of Skokie. So to them, I just want to say to all of you that I will keep up your legacy of great, open, honest government, and I vow to never drop my guard, as you never have either. And you just all have my respect. So thank you, and God bless you.
Thank you. Trustee Sutker?
I want to acknowledge my 4 colleagues who are leaving the board. While they won't be present in future meetings, their legacies will continue. Even though it is difficult to sum up their work in a couple sentences, I'm going to try. I have known Michelle Brownberg for more than 20 years. She contributed greatly to issues on health and wellness and served as the liaison to the Health Commission. Michelle's advocacy for residents happened on a regular basis. Randy Roberts has been a thoughtful, prepared, and sensitive trustee who has helped facilitate many accomplishments with environmental sustainability, economic development, and resident advocacy. And I can always count on Karen Gray-Keeler to attend business openings and be present in daytime community events. We worked together on the litter task force, and her dedication to the environment and the business community was clear. Alanka brought a wealth of knowledge to our executive sessions that residents could never see. I always respected Alanka's commitment to advocating for what she believed was best for Skokie residents. Alanka's diverse background was an asset to the board. Each of you brought a unique perspective to the board. I feel honored to have had the privilege to work with board members who showed respect for one another and who I can call my friends. We were a strong team, and despite our differences, we worked together for the betterment of Skokie. Thank you, guys.
And I particularly wanted to echo what Ralph and Edie Sue have said. I think it's especially appropriate that the concluding votes of this board are dealing with the water contract and the training tower, because I think it does show the commitment of all of the members of this board. You've all worked very hard, you've been very patient, and you've had a vision for the village of Skokie. So I, along with everybody else in the village, want to extend you my thanks and my profound commitment that this board shall continue in the heritage that you've helped create for us in the last 20 years. Thank you for everything that you have done for us. And now, John, we have some public comments, and then we will take a final motion to adjourn.
John, I'm sorry, just before we do that, for clarity on the record, item B, the resolution proclaiming the result of the 2021 consolidated election, was part of the consent agenda at the
Right.
beginning and passed.
Right.
Yes. Dear Mayor Van Duzen and the trustees of the Village of Skokie, I would like to express my gratitude to the outgoing trustees for their dedication to the village. I wish to commend in particular Randy Roberts, with whom I have collaborated and respected for many years on the crucial issues of fair housing and racial justice, upholding Cook County's increased minimum wage and sick leave standard, and ensuring that Skokie safeguards its immigrant residents as a welcoming city. Trustee Roberts is one of my heroes. I also congratulate the incoming Board of Trustees. I would suggest these 5 priorities for your first 100 days. 1. Reform the public participation process. Building trust in government begins with a spirit of collaboration with residents of goodwill. On my wish list is the swift passage of a public participation ordinance governed by principles of inclusive design, authentic intent, transparency, inclusiveness, and equity, informed and accessible participation. 2. Ensure that this kind of openness is the rule in appointments to boards and commissions. 3. Develop a comprehensive housing plan for all people. It is time for the village to address what staff last year told HUD is Skokie's greatest problem: housing cost burden, where almost 40% of Skokie households have housing costs that are greater than 30% of household income. Accessibility, lack of universal design, and low credit scores are additional barriers to housing issues. 4, take a fresh look at police department practices. Mark Twain said, "When your only tool is a hammer, all problems look like nails." Are we applying punitive strategies where social services or nonviolent mediation and conflict resolution would be more appropriate? 5, finally, let's deconstruct the village's budget. Are the priorities in the budget comparable to the priorities that a diversity of residents expressed at the last Skokie Residents Forum 18 months ago? I look forward to supporting you as you move Skokie toward embodying Dr. King's beloved community. Sincerely, Gail Schechter, 9033B Keating Avenue, Skokie. Dear Village of Skokie Mayor Van Duzen and Board of Trustees, we are deeply grieved by the recent murders of Dante Chauvin and Adam Toledo by police officers as we await the verdict for the murder trial of George Floyd. We are horrified at the brute force used against too many Black, brown, BIPOC children and adults in our schools, communities, and country. We also understand that those who supported and/or participated in what resulted in the insurrection at the Capitol on January 6th of 2021 may be working in our schools and communities and have sought to influence the village and schools' policy and position on policing. Our group's history is that we came together due to the criminalization and unjust and unequal education provided to our Black, brown, BIPOC children of District 219. We are here to demand the actualization of our human and civil rights in the Niles Township community as it pertains to housing, healthcare, education, economics, policing, and government policies. Furthermore, we understand the direct relationship between the scholarship and safety of our children, and for today's purposes, we will focus on policing and education. The Justice Policy Institute published a report in 2011 where the abstract reads, "The increase in the presence of law enforcement in schools, especially in the form of school resource officers, SROs, has coincided with increases in referrals to the justice system, especially for minor offenses like disorderly conduct. This is causing lasting harm to youth as arrests and referrals to the juvenile justice system disrupt the educational process and can lead to suspension, expulsion, or other alienation from school. All of these negative effects set youth on a track to drop out of school and put them at greater risk of becoming involved in the justice system later on, all at tremendous costs for taxpayers as well as the youth themselves and their communities." This is from Education Under Arrest, the Case Against Police in Schools by Justice Policy Institute. The NAACP's 2018 resolution supports the Justice Policy Institute's report, and their national and local work has resulted in the removal of SROs from many school districts across the country. We have found the following of D219. From school years 2015 to 2016 to 2019 to 20, 5 school years, Hispanic students have made up an average of 15% of the student population, but make up 20 to 22% of the reported infractions consistently. That is a quarter of total infractions. From school years 2015 to 2016 to 2019 to 2020, Black students make up only about 8% of the student population, yet 13 to 21% of the infractions. That's double to triple their population at the schools. With a decrease in enrollment of Black families each year, we call into question how embracing and welcoming D219 schools are for Black children and families. For too long and too haphazardly, D219 administrators, deans, and school leaders have utilized SROs for the disproportionate discipline of Black, brown, BIPOC children. D219 has court referrals for overwhelmingly Black, brown, BIPOC children that they do not log nor keep track of nor release to the public when asked. The village pays for SROs that are in schools. Currently, your SRO programs benefit from the criminalization of our Black, brown, BIPOC youth, as they make up the majority of court referrals and discipline at your courthouses. This reveals a clear monetary incentive to maintain a system of policing and criminalization of youth in our schools, as the use of expenses for these positions can then be justified. The safety officers, often who build positive relationships with our Black, brown, BIPOC children, are hired from an outside company, are part-time, do not receive benefits, and are not paid sustainable wages. The district released a survey in which 30% of the community participated in. You cannot in good faith or ethically take the survey, implementation, nor its results for any consideration of influence on policy at the school level. With the history of alienation and ostracization of Black, brown, BIPOC families from schools in this country, accessibility and equity can affect the distribution of surveys and the gathering of data. We demand the following: remove SROs from all Niles Township schools. We demand the abolishment of the criminalization of our youth, and demand that not one more of our village's tax dollars be paid to this dehumanizing practice in schools, and instead be invested in wellness and restorative practices. We demand the village end your intergovernmental agreement with D219. Require all village of Skokie leaders and employees to complete anti-racist and implicit bias training, as well as restorative justice trainings from a framework of anti-racism and implicit bias. In light of the ongoing and recent murders of Black, brown, BIPOC children and adults by police officers, we demand body cameras now. We understand the system of policing as it is disproportionately harms our children and adults, and full transparency is needed now with each civilian interaction. Do not wait until 2022. Disregard the failed attempts of a small group of parents, community members who seek to politicize this very moral issue that has historically, currently harmed and traumatized our Black, brown, BIPOC children. Their ideas must have no bearing on the implementation of the village and district's policies. We demand a community meeting to address concerns. You have yet to respond to our letters, and public comments through letters submitted by our members have been put to the side. With open and responsive communication, we can build trust and transparency and move collectively for the well-being of our Black, brown, BIPOC families. We demand a racial equity community liaison that actively works to both gather the concerns of the BIPOC families of the village of Skokie and communicate the mayor and board of trustees' responses to the concerns. Sincerely, Abolition Coalition, Monique Cooley Hicks, Roxanne Sagano, Angela Sanga Godson, Jasmine Sabagawa, Reverend Dr. Michael C.R. Neighbors, President, Evanston North Shore NAACP. I should note for accuracy, the school districts pay for the percentage of an officer that corresponds with the school year. In addition, the village provides an SRO if and when requested by the school district. Congratulations and welcome to the newly elected village board, and welcome back, Mayor Van Duzen. I am a Skokie resident writing to express my excitement for this moment in Skokie. We have a new diverse board. Our Sustainable Environment Advisory Commission is meeting again and working on a community-wide greenhouse gas inventory and a renewed sustainability plan. The Public Safety Commission is considering the recommendations of 8 Can't Wait, and the SRO Task Force is gathering data to provide a solid basis for decisions around SROs in schools. The town has long-tenured, efficient, and forward-thinking staff. The health department is doing a great job of getting vaccines out to residents. I hope that we seize this moment, retain all the best of what Skokie has been, an efficiently and thoughtfully managed town, a diverse community, a town focused on sustainability, and also grow with the times. To be even more welcoming, adopting the 8 Can't Wait recommendations, including the use of body cams focusing on increasing the amount of affordable housing available, and using the results of the SRO study to ensure that no one in our schools is intentionally or unintentionally targeted for disproportionate enforcement. To be more transparent, making public the nominating process for the Skokie Caucus Party slate in the next election cycle, and supporting an open path for any who would like to run independent campaigns so that many perspectives can emerge. To be even more invested on sustainability, ensuring that the new sustainability plans has measurable targets, and considering the possibility of hiring a chief sustainability officer to drive the development of that plan and of Skokie's efforts in sustainability more broadly. Many thanks to everyone just elected for your service and for your love for this community. I'm excited to see what you will do. Shira Hammond, 8921 Lincolnwood Drive. My name is Brian Williams. I want to thank the retiring trustees and welcome the new ones. I am excited for the diversity within the trustees. I am hopeful that this will lead to acknowledging how the village still holds imagery that is no longer appropriate. That is a conversation we can have at a later time. Today we should celebrate the importance of change. It may be hard, but it becomes necessary. I am hopeful that our elected officials will represent the most marginalized in our community to meet the needs equitably. I am hopeful we uplift women, not tear them down. We create affordability, not exclusivity. We develop community, not division. There is much to accomplish this year and beyond, and as a resident of this community, I am dedicated to see that change through. Best, Brian Williams. Below are my comments for the meeting this evening. To the Board of Trustees and the Mayor, there is a spirit growing in Skokie. It is one that has swelled throughout the election season. It builds on many of the great foundations and values of this community, but it is also a spirit of transformation and change. It is anti-racist, intersectional, and grassroots. It is tended by many different organizations, political leaders, activists, and residents in our community. It is here to stay. We need vocal leaders who will propose bold, transformative policies. Skokie has the opportunity to be a leader and trendsetter in anti-racist education, immigrant rights, environmental sustainability, interfaith solidarity, and affordable housing. With the horrific current events in the Midwest this week, the Derek Chauvin trial, the police officers murdering Adam Toledo and Dante Wright, and the FedEx shooting taking the lives of 8 people, 4 of whom were ski, everyone can agree that this violence is senseless. Our current system is broken, and that it needs to be drastically reimagined, including concerned citizens in decision-making about the village's upcoming budget is a great place to start. If not now, then when? I would like to thank the outgoing trustees for their service to this community, and I would also like to encourage the incoming trustees to nurture the spirit of social transformation and reimagination, both within themselves and in this community. We are here to support you in your work towards making Skokie the most anti-racist, affordable, multilingual, and accessible it can possibly be. Your community is committed to civic engagement. All we ask is that our concerns will be engaged by our elected officials with the same level of seriousness and urgency. Indeed, the lives and well-being of all of us depend on it. Molly Greening, 4821 Hall Street, number 2D, Skokie. Mayor Van Duzen and the new village board. With the new members of the board starting their 4-year term, and in light of recent police violence, I think police reform needs to be a top priority of this new board. Body cams are a must. The use of force policy and overall police reform should be first on the agenda. You have a chance to make some major change in Skokie. Let's make it happen. The time is now. Thanks for your time, Nicole Reynolds. And that completes the public comments.
Thank you. And now, Trustee Brownberg and Trustee Roberts, a motion to adjourn sine die. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, a joint motion.
And now for meeting number 2. I've already read the prefaces. I will not repeat it, but I will call the meeting for Monday, April 19, 2021, for the installation of new village elected officials to order. First on the agenda is the installation of village elected officials. We will do it in groups of, there'll be 4 of us, groups of 2. Each one will have a judge of the circuit court who will swear each of us in. After each group has been sworn in, I would like to ask each of those who have been sworn in for their comments. So first, the oath of office administered to myself and to village trustee Ralph Klein. It's my pleasure to introduce the Honorable Judge Barbara M. Meyer, who I might add is a former corporation counsel for the village. So if Judge Meyer.
Thank you, Mayor. If I may just take a couple seconds, I want to thank the Village of Skokie for giving me this honor and privilege to participate in the installation. It's always exciting for me to come here for this purpose. And I want to acknowledge all the other judges that are here for the same reason. And I want to thank the retiring trustees for all their hard work over the years they served the village, and I know what it takes. And congratulations to all of you on a job well done, and best of luck on your future endeavors. And I want to welcome all the newly elected trustees. Mayor, this is the 5th time I've done this. It's hard to believe. It's hard to believe I've been gone that long and that you've been mayor for that long. So if you raise your right hand, please. Do you, George Van Duzen, solemnly swear or affirm that you will faithfully execute the office and impartially perform the duties of mayor of the Village of Skokie to the best of your ability as prescribed by law, and that you will support and protect the Constitution of the United States, the state of Illinois, and uphold and follow the statutes of the state of Illinois, the ordinance of this Village of Skokie?
I do.
Congratulations, Mayor, and I will send you a virtual hug.
Got top of my head off.
Good afternoon, trustee. And for you, this is the third time I'm doing this. It's always a pleasure and a privilege. Ralph, raise your right hand. Do you, Ralph Klein, solemnly swear or affirm that you will faithfully execute the office and impartially perform the duties of trustee of the Village of Skokie to the best of your ability as prescribed by law, and you will support and protect the constitutions of the United States and state of Illinois, and uphold and follow the statutes of the state of Illinois and ordinances of the Village of Skokie?
I do.
Again, to you, a virtual hug. Congratulations.
Thank you, Barbara. Thank you.
Ralph, the floor is yours.
I'm gonna be real quick here. I want to thank my wife, my family, my friends, Barbara, who has been like my rabbi for years. And I also want to thank my friends in the Skokie Caucus Party, who we all share one vision, and we are here trying to fulfill that vision, and we have for over 65 years. So I want to welcome my new brethren and say it's an honor to work, going to be an honor to work with you, and I look forward to the challenges ahead, because we are going into uncharted territory now, and so we're all going to have to learn together the new ways of the new world. So, Barbara, thank you. Mayor, thank you. Trustees, thank you so much.
Thank you. The oath of office will be administered to Village Clerk Pramod Shaw and Trustee Edie Sue Sutker by the Honorable Judge Shelley Sutker-Dermer.
Well, I want to also thank you for the honor of being here tonight. Welcome my colleagues. Congratulate the board that is leaving for all their hard work. I've been to all of their swearing-ins, and I'm sad to see them go, and also happy to be part of the new board and swearing in everyone, especially tonight. Pramod Shaw, I'm going to start with you. Please raise your right hand. Do you, Pramod Shaw, solemnly swear or affirm that you will faithfully execute the office and impartially perform the duties of clerk of the Village of Skokie to the best of your ability as prescribed by law, and that you will support and protect the constitutions of the United States and the state of Illinois, and uphold and follow the statutes of the state of Illinois and the ordinances of this great Village of Skokie? Congratulations. Good luck on your term. And of course, it would be very appropriate and also very touching for me to swear in my sister Edie again as trustee. And this is a family tradition, I hope. I wanted to thank Randy because you mentioned my father, and I feel my parents here so strongly, and I'm so glad to represent the family and the judiciary in swearing you in. Very proud of you, Edie. Congratulations. Please raise your right hand. Do you, Edie Sue Sutker, solemnly swear or affirm that you will faithfully execute the duties and faithfully execute the office and impartially perform the duties of trustee of the Village of Skokie to the best of your ability as prescribed by law, and that you will support and protect the constitutions of the United States and the state of Illinois, and uphold and follow the statutes of the state of Illinois and the ordinances of this great Village of Skokie?
I do.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Pramod?
Oh, thank you, Mayor. I want to thank my wife Usha and my family, friends, all my nieces and nephews. I have large family in Village of Skokie. Also, I want to thank our friends at Caucus Party, Lisa Henley, Cindy Franklin, Linda Perlin, Bob Quain, Brian O'Donnell, Rich Ivanitz, Jeff Berman, Shalom Klein, Mike Shaw, Paul Luke, for their support and hard work for Skokie. I also want to thank my friend Adil Azim Khan, who is the president of Cricket League, for his support. I want to thank outgoing trustees, Randy Roberts, Alanka Ulrich, Michelle Brownberg, Karen Gray-Keeler for their service, love, and dedication to our village of Skokie. It has been truly a pleasure working with you, and I wish you all the best. I want to take this opportunity to thank our village staff, village manager Lockerbie, assistant village manager Nick Wyatt, Corporation Counsel Michael Lodge, our health and human services, community development, our finance department, IT, public works, police, and fire. I appreciate their help and professionalism. Without them, we cannot function. I want to give big shout out to Terry Olin. Sometimes I would call him multiple times a day to check on the properties for transfer stamps. My sincere thanks to Deputy Clerk Sylvia Luke for providing reliable services to our Skokie residents. I'm looking forward to serve our great village of Skokie under the leadership of Mayor Van Dusen with all the trustees, Trustee Sutkar, Trustee Robinson, Trustee Kuhn, Trustee Johnson, Trustee Pure Slovin, and Trustee Klein. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Edie Sue?
Thank you to the residents of Skokie for the opportunity to serve this community. Thank you to my wonderful extended family and my husband. I look forward to continuing the work of fighting COVID, economic development, environmental sustainability, and pursuing racial equity. I'm honored to have initiated the co-responder pilot in Skokie, which we hope to start very soon. The pilot will pair first responders with mental health professionals for mental health emergencies. I look forward to serving with the new board and working together for the betterment of Skokie. I pledge to put the Village of Skokie residents' interests before my own. Thank you.
Thank you. The oath of office will be administered to village trustees Cam Kuhn and Allison Pure Slovin by the Honorable Judge Anjana Hansen. Your Honor, welcome. It's great to have you.
Thank you for your service to the old board, and congratulations to the new board. And Kem, thank you for wanting me to be here today. So, Kem, I will have you raise your right hand. Do you, Kem Kuhn, solemnly swear or affirm that you will faithfully execute the office and impartially perform the duties of trustee of the Village of Skokie to the best of your ability as prescribed by law, and that you will support and protect the constitutions of the United States and the state of Illinois, and uphold and follow the statutes of the state of Illinois and the ordinances of this great Village of Skokie?
I do.
Congratulations, Trustee Kuhn. Yes. Allison Pure Slovin. Oh, I do see her there, she is. All right, you already have your hand raised. Do you, Allison Pure Slovin, solemnly swear or affirm that you will faithfully execute the office and impartially perform the duties of trustee of the Village of Skokie to the best of your ability as prescribed by law, and that you will support and protect the constitutions of the United States and the state of Illinois, and uphold and follow the statutes of the state of Illinois and the ordinances of this great village of Skokie.
I do. Thank you.
Congratulations, trustee.
Kim?
Thank you. I want to thank my friends and family who joined me virtually for the swearing-in ceremony, and include a shout out to the young people who are either staying up past their bedtime or watching this later. I love you and I thank you. I want to thank the residents who took the time to vote, participate in democracy, and even show up to witness today's oath of office. Thank you very much. I am honored to join the Skokie Caucus Party and being part of the most diverse board the village of Skokie has ever had. Clerk Pramod Shaw paved the way as the first Asian American to serve as village trustee in 2009. 12 years later, I am joining as the first Asian American woman on the board of trustees in the village of Skokie. The historical significance of this in a community where 30% identifies as Asian American is not lost on me. Diversity, equity, and inclusion must go beyond performative acts. We are stronger when we work together, but we must also recognize the unique history that brings us here. The responsibility that we have ahead of us to review and set village-wide policies must be thoughtful, intentional, and meaningful, because it will have significant impact on our diverse residents. I will continue to ground myself in the community and help amplify those voices at the table. I will carry with me the experience and history of a community that has been historically disenfranchised, misunderstood, and even targeted at different times, including the present. I am the child of refugee parents who are survivors of genocide and come from a community that historically has reason to mistrust government. I also realize that we're operating in an unprecedented time. We are in the middle of a pandemic where families and businesses have suffered greatly. We have lost loved ones, we have hurt, and many continue to struggle. Unfortunately, the work never ends and there is no pause button. I speak from personal experience when I say that our communities are fighting every day to not only survive, but to rise against people and policies that continue to do harm against our people. I am not alone, and I have watched other parents do the same, care for their elderly or sick while juggling work, taking care of their children's needs during the pandemic, and somehow find time to march, organize, or even run for public office. Whether it's being able to whether it's being able to stand by Black Lives Matter, standing up against Asian hate, the criminalization of immigrant and Black communities, there's much work that we have to do. Again, while we have families who have lost, sick, or are recovering from COVID, and trying to figure out how to rebuild our economy and infrastructure. We have a huge opportunity to revisit policies in a post-pandemic world, but we are strong, we are resilient, and we will get through this and come out stronger on the other side. I want to thank the outgoing trustees, Trustee Brownberg, Trustee Gray-Keeler, Trustee Roberts, and Trustee Ulrich for their leadership on the Village of Skokie board over the years and your continued contribution to the community. I know that you won't go anywhere. I want to acknowledge and thank, I'm glad that Trustee Ulrich also put forward herself and claiming her identity and her role as being the first woman of color being on the board as well. I think that's really important for people who are following behind her to recognize and know who she is. I look forward to working with Mayor Van Dusen, Clerk Shaw, Trustee Zucker, Trustee Klein, Trustee Pierce-Lovin, Trustee Robinson, and Trustee Johnson. We may not always agree, but I will assume good intentions from everyone here and listen with an open heart and mind, and I'll carry myself with honor and respect to the position I serve. Thank you.
And Allison?
Thank you. This is a remarkable moment for all of us, and I'm grateful for this opportunity and to everyone who came out and exercised their democratic right to vote. I would thank this country for allowing my grandparents in when they were escaping anti-Semitism from Europe and for welcoming us with open arms. Each one of us comes from diverse backgrounds, and sometimes our forefathers or our parents or someone in our generations have escaped hate from other countries, and we came here because the United States of America opens its arms to all immigrants. And that's what I love about the village of Skokie. We reflect what's the best of this world, what's the best of the United States, And this diverse group of trustees will work hard on behalf of the residents. I want to thank those who made it possible before us, the trustees who have walked the path and created a wonderful village for all of us to live in, to raise our children, and to create this diversity that is reflected by the trustees that have been elected today. Our leadership is extraordinary, and I look forward to learning from them. I have large shoes to fill. The trustees before us have done an extraordinary job, and I hope that we together can live up to everything that they have accomplished on behalf of Skokie. Thank you very much for this opportunity. I again thank my community and my family for their support. And I look forward to learning, because I know I have a great deal to learn, and I look to my fellow trustees to walk this path with me. We live in an incredible world. And what I love about the Skokie Caucus is that we represent everybody, and we represent independents, Democrats, and Republicans. We have to remember that the Skokie Caucus Party represents all that makes this country great. Thank you.
Thank you. And the oath of office will now be administered to village trustees James Johnson and Dr. Keith Robinson by the Honorable Judge Stephen Watkins. Your Honor, welcome. It's a pleasure to have you this evening.
Thank you for having me. Good evening, village officials, judges, the public. Thank you for allowing me to participate in this swearing-in ceremony. Mr. Johnson, will you please raise your right hand? Do you, James H. Johnson, solemnly swear or affirm that you will faithfully execute the office and impartiality perform the duties of trustee of the Village of Skokie to the best of your ability as prescribed by law, and that you will support and protect the constitutions of the United States and the state of Illinois, and uphold and follow the statutes of the state of Illinois and the ordinance of this great village of Skokie?
I do. Thank you.
Congratulations. Keith Robinson?
Yes.
Dr. Robinson, I want to thank you personally for inviting me to participate.
Thank you for being here.
Please raise your right hand. Do you, Keith A. Robinson, solemnly swear or affirm that you will faithfully execute the office and impartially perform the duties of trustee of the Village of Skokie to the best of your ability as prescribed by law, and that you will support and protect the constitutions of the United States and the state of Illinois, and uphold and follow the statutes of the state of Illinois and the ordinance of this great village of Skokie?
I do.
Congratulations, my brother.
James?
Oh, thank you, Mayor. More than anything, I just want to say that I'm truly honored, I'm truly humbled to be entering this village board and to be serving the people of Skokie as an independent representative. And as many others have already said, I just want to acknowledge that we're entering this office in really challenging times, obviously, and the responsibilities of this board are great, not only as we're coming out of this pandemic, but also as we're having this national conversation about systemic bias. I hope that we're all ready for the tasks at hand. I've never served as a political representative before, but I hope that this gives me a fresh perspective. I'm a high school teacher, I'm an educator, I teach social justice and ethics courses. And I'm very excited about the possibilities of social justice policymaking here in the village of Skokie in the next 4 years. And to be very transparent with the people in the coming term, folks are going to hear me talking a lot about environmental sustainability, a lot about climate action, about the need for fair housing and affordable housing, about anti-racism and equity work, about civic engagement and creating a more participatory democracy. But more broadly, I'm here to promote the common good. I'm here to promote human rights. I'm here to listen and be receptive to what the people of Skokie want our future to be like. I'm here to protect all of the many, many things that we love about this community that we all cherish. In the coming weeks and months, I encourage Skokie residents to reach out to all of us, to get to know us, invite us to events, and when needed, to challenge us and to hold us accountable, and to be a part of the social justice policy making that's happening in our community. And to everyone specifically in this call, I'm very much looking forward to working with all of you. I'm looking forward to collaborating with all of you and being a part of the change that we all want to see in this community. So I'm honored to work with all of you. Thank you all as well.
Thank you. And Dr. Robinson.
Yes. First of all, I'd like to thank my family for their continued support. My wife, Sharon, my daughters, Kari and Taryn. Also must thank my extended family and friends and colleagues who have supported me throughout my entire career. I have a lot of gratitudes here, but I also want to express my gratitude for this community of diverse people to support me throughout the election. Thanks so much to the outgoing Board of Trustees for their work in paving the way for me. I really also appreciate the Skokie Caucus Party for slating me. I've got to get a shout out to Skokie and Skevinson for voting me and this team of elected officials with whom I am very excited to serve. I'm incredibly honored to be the first elected Black trustee in Skokie. I do not take that distinction lightly, as this provides an opportunity to represent diverse perspectives and amplify voices that have historically been marginalized and unheard. The foundation of building relationships has always been essential in my role as an educator, and I vow to continue in the same vein as Skokie trustee by listening, learning, and serving in this vibrant community. I look forward to the important work ahead, and I thank you all again for your wonderful support.
I've reserved a couple minutes for myself. First and foremost, I want to thank my loving and very patient family who have allowed me the opportunity to serve in public office. I'm very proud that my entire family has chosen to live in the village of Skokie. All of my children and my grandchildren are products of the Skokie schools and of this community. We love the village of Skokie. It's been very good, not just to me and my family, but it's been welcoming to thousands of people from all across the globe. We have in our community people from over 100 different countries all over this wonderful world. We are a welcoming community. We have challenges ahead. We have economic challenges. COVID has wreaked havoc on our budget, and we will be going forward to take a look at this budget. We also will be taking up policing and the use of force. We have a citizens committee that has been holding hearings and will be reporting to the village board within the next couple of months. But we also have time ahead where we will be looking forward to working together. I welcome my new colleagues, just as I look forward to continuing to work with Trustees Sutker and Klein. I want to give a special thanks to those who have departed from the village board. It's on your shoulders that this community has been built, and it is on your shoulders that this community will continue to be successful. Every day, I get up looking forward coming to work because we have built the best staff that any municipality has in the country. By no means are we perfect, but I think it's very fair to say we are damn good. This is a wonderful professional staff. It operates without fear. It brings to the village board recommendations not based on politics, but on what the staff believes is in the interests of the entire village of Skokie. We invite residents of the village to join our boards and commissions. It is these boards and commissions that are part and parcel of creating village policy. We invite everybody's participation, and I'm very grateful, and I look forward to working with Kim, Allison, James, and Keith. You're going to enjoy your work on the village board, just as you have heard from the previous members of the village board. You too will enjoy working with this staff on behalf of every person in the village of Skokie. We have much work ahead of us, but we will succeed because this is the kind of board of trustees that represents all sectors of our community. Thank you very much to everybody who's attended the meeting this evening. And the clerk will please do the first roll call of this new village board.
Trustee Sutker,
Aye.
Trustee Robinson,
Aye.
Trustee Kuhn,
Aye.
Trustee Johnson,
Aye.
Trustee Pure Slovin,
Aye.
Trustee Klein,
Aye.
Mayor Van Dusen.
Aye.
Thank
There is no agenda beyond the installation this evening. Our tradition is that the senior member of the village board makes the motion to adjourn. It's my pleasure to recognize Trustee Edie Sue Sutker.
I make a motion, we adjourn.
We are adjourned. Thank you and welcome.